Remedies for feeling lonely or depressed. When darkness feels like home. What if I told you that even emperors wept in silence? That even the strongest minds, those who led armies and shaped empires, once sat alone with the crushing weight of despair? Loneliness, depression, these aren't modern diseases. They are ancient companions of the human soul. You might think you're broken when you feel numb, when waking up feels like a battle, when the silence in your room becomes too loud to bear. But listen closely, you're not broken. You're simply human. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, wrote in his meditations not from a throne of comfort, but from the front lines of suffering. Seneca's words were inked with the pain of exile and loss. Epictetus found clarity not in comfort, but in chains. These men did not escape their inner storms. They met them, with reason, with resolve, and with radical acceptance. In this video, you're not going to find empty motivation or feel-good cliches. Instead, you'll discover 12 Stoic remedies, not to numb your pain, but to teach you how to reshape it, how to use it as fuel. Each strategy is a tool, a tested fragment of ancient wisdom, ready for you to pick up and wield when the shadows grow long. If you've ever whispered, "I can't do this anymore," then you've already begun your journey. Because that moment of vulnerability, that honest cry into the void, is the first step toward the strength the Stoics knew all too well. Stick around, because what's waiting for you is not just survival, it's transformation. 1. Move your body. Let motion heal the mind. When you're caught in the grip of loneliness or depression, movement can feel like the last thing you want to do. But to the Stoics, the body wasn't just flesh and blood. It was a vessel for transformation. Moving your body is not about escape. It's about engagement. It's the first act of defiance against the inertia of despair. Marcus Aurelius, plagued by fatigue and duty, still rose with discipline, reminding himself that the body was made for action. For the Stoics, physical movement wasn't just about health. It was a moral act, a return to alignment between will and action. You don't need to run a marathon or master yoga. You just need to start, step by step, breath by breath. Walk through your neighborhood like you're reclaiming territory. Stretch like you're unfolding the tension of your soul. Dance alone, not to impress, but to awaken. Because every motion is a message. I am still here. I am still fighting. Movement is meditation in motion. It quiets the internal noise, anchors the mind, and stirs a long-forgotten joy. It reminds you that you are not powerless, that your body, when moved with purpose, can guide your spirit toward clarity and light. Let your limbs lead you back to life. Your body already knows how to begin again. 2. Be a better friend to yourself. End the war within. If someone you loved stumbled, would you scold them or offer a steady hand? Now ask yourself, why do you treat yourself any differently? When life becomes heavy and loneliness creeps in, the mind often turns cruel. The inner voice that should comfort you becomes the harshest critic. But the Stoics knew this trap well. They taught that the way we speak to ourselves shapes our very reality. Clintus, a lesser-known but wise Stoic, once overheard a man speaking to himself with biting contempt. He interrupted not to shame him, but to gently say, "You're not talking to a bad person." That one phrase cuts through time like a sword of kindness. It reminds us that self-hatred is not virtue. It's a prison. Seneca warned against the loneliness that comes not from being alone, but from being at war with yourself. Depression festers in the cracks created by our own self-judgment. And yet, the key to healing lies in turning that judgment into compassion. Being a friend to yourself isn't about sugarcoating failure or pretending everything's fine. It's about standing beside yourself in the storm, saying, "I see your pain, but I'm not abandoning you." It's about changing the tone of your inner voice, from executioner to encourager. This isn't indulgence. It's Stoic wisdom in action, The understanding that true strength is never born from shame, but from self-respect. So the next time your mind whispers, "You're not enough," respond as Marcus would. "You are a soul with worth beyond measure. Rise again." 3. Be satisfied more. Escape the prison of more. We live in a world that worships ambition, always striving, always climbing. But what if the summit you're chasing is just a mirage? What if every next goal simply pushes peace further out of reach? The Stoics saw this clearly. They warned that the relentless hunger for more is not a sign of success, but a symptom of spiritual starvation. Seneca wrote that a man who is never content is not free. He is chained to illusion. And Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the most powerful empire on earth, reflected in his journal not on his victories, but on how easily they faded, how hollow they could feel. There's a modern parable that echoes this truth. An actor, beloved in households across the world, confesses he still feels invisible, because what he has isn't what he thought he wanted next. And so the chase continues, more fame, more recognition, more of everything except peace. True satisfaction, the Stoics teach us, comes not from what you gather, but from what you stop craving. When you can sit quietly with yourself and say, "This moment is enough," you've already surpassed kings and conquerors. Gratitude isn't passive. It's a deliberate choice. To wake up, look around, and see the sacred in the ordinary. The smile of a friend, the warmth of the sun, the breath still rising in your chest. These are riches no ambition can buy. If you want to escape the ache of loneliness or the grip of depression, begin here. Stop measuring your life against what it lacks and start honoring what it already holds. Take a view from above, shrink your worries, expand your soul. Have you ever stood on a mountaintop and looked down at the tiny world below? Cars shrink to ants, buildings become toys, and suddenly, your problems? They begin to dissolve. That's not imagination. That's perspective. And it's one of the Stoics' greatest tools. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to look down from above, to see not just his empire, but his life, his struggles, his fears, as part of something vast, flowing, and eternal. He ruled over millions, yet saw himself as a brief note in the great symphony of time. This is what the Stoics called the cosmic perspective. When loneliness grips your chest or depression clouds your mind, it's easy to believe your pain is the center of everything. But take a breath. Zoom out. Imagine yourself from the stars. Your entire city is a flicker. Your life, a fragile spark in a galaxy of burning suns. And yet, it matters. Not because it's grand, but because it's yours. Because in this vast, swirling universe, you still have a part to play. You still hold the power to act with courage, with dignity, with kindness. Seeing life from above doesn't diminish your problems. It puts them in their rightful place. It's not about ignoring your pain. It's about realizing that you are not your pain. You are a soul passing through this moment in time, learning, growing, and becoming. So when the world feels heavy, remember, you are part of something bigger. Your story is a thread in the great tapestry of humanity, and it's still being woven. 5. Learn to suffer with others, the silent brotherhood of struggle. Pain isolates, but it also connects. Behind every smile, every stoic expression, there are battles you can't see. And once you realize that truth, something powerful happens. You stop suffering alone. The Stoics believe that hardship is not unique to you. It is a universal thread that ties humanity together. Epictetus, once a slave, taught that while we cannot always choose our circumstances, we can choose how we respond and who we suffer with. Think of soldiers marching side by side, or rowers cutting across a misty lake in unison, or strangers in a quiet meditation hall, breathing through the chaos together. These aren't just scenes of unity, they're reflections of shared resilience. Suffering alone breeds despair. But suffering together, that forges brotherhood. A kind of quiet, unspoken solidarity that doesn't need fixing or answers, just presence. Just knowing someone else is beside you in the dark. The Stoics weren't lone wolves. They valued community. They believed that the fire inside us burns brighter when it lights another. So when you feel that darkness rising, don't pull away. Step toward others. Join a circle, a group, a cause. Any space where pain is shared and strength is multiplied. Your struggle isn't a burden to hide. It's a bridge waiting to be built. And through that bridge, you'll not only find relief, you'll find your people. 6. Ask for help. Strength isn't silence. Somewhere along the way, we were told that strength means standing alone, that asking for help is weakness. But to the Stoics, that idea is not just wrong, it's dangerous. Marcus Aurelius himself, an emperor and philosopher, wrote, "Don't be ashamed to need help. Like a soldier storming a wall. You have a mission, and if you've been wounded, you need a comrade to lift you up." So what? That's not pride speaking. That's wisdom wrapped in humility. We're not meant to walk through the storm alone. Even the strongest warriors fought in formation. Even the most resolute minds leaned on others when the burden grew too great. Because true courage isn't about gritting your teeth through agony. It's about knowing when to reach for a hand. Look at recovery groups, support circles, or even a late-night call to someone who cares. In those spaces, healing isn't dictated, it's shared. There's no hierarchy of pain, no scoreboard of strength. Only the quiet truth that we are all climbing, stumbling, and getting back up, together. The Stoics didn't reject support, they valued it. Because vulnerability, when it's honest and open, isn't a crack in your armor. It's where the light gets in. So if your soul feels heavy, if your thoughts grow darker than you can manage, ask. Speak. Reach out. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know you're human. 7. Focus on your path, the discipline of staying true. In a world that constantly flashes someone else's success in your face, staying committed to your own path feels like swimming upstream. One glance at social media, and suddenly your journey feels small, incomplete, behind. But the Stoics knew this trap long before Instagram ever existed. Seneca spoke of emia, the focused awareness of one's own life, undistracted by the noise of others. To him, the real danger wasn't failure. It was drifting from your path in pursuit of someone else's. Loneliness and depression often whisper the same lie. You're not where you should be. But who decides that? Who sets that pace? The Stoics answer with brutal clarity. You do. Your timeline is yours. Your goals, your progress, your pain, it's all valid. And when you stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20, you begin to feel the solid ground under your feet again. This focus is not passive. It's an active daily choice to say, I will not be lured by distractions. I will not trade my peace for applause. It requires courage to walk your own road, especially when it looks different from those around you. But the reward? Freedom, clarity, a peace that no likes, followers, or gold stars can offer. So look ahead, not to the left, not to the right. Your task is not to win their race. It's to walk your own with honor. 8. Remember the impermanence of things. Glory fades, but virtue remains. Everything you cling to, your successes, your failures, your fears, they're all fading. That job title? Temporary. That heartbreak? Passing. Even the memory of your name will one day vanish into dust. Harsh? Maybe. But the Stoics didn't flinch from this truth. They embraced it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that even the great Julius Caesar and the most unknown Roman peasant now lie side by side beneath the earth. The same soil, the same silence. To him, this wasn't morbid, it was liberating. Because when you truly grasp the fleeting nature of everything, you stop chasing shadows and start living with purpose. History whispers to us, sic transit gloria mundi. So passes the glory of the world. We waste years reaching for applause, recognition, eternal relevance. But none of it lasts. And when we pin our worth to things that vanish, we vanish with them. What endures is virtue, your courage, your kindness, your integrity. These are the fingerprints you leave on the soul of the world. Not trophies, not fame, but the quiet, unwavering way you showed up, day after day, in the face of difficulty. So don't fear the passing of things. Let it sober you. Let it strip away the noise. And in what remains, you'll find peace, not from chasing more, but from being more. Because at the end of this brief flicker called life, it's not how long you burned, but how brightly and for what. 9. Embrace adversity, the fire that forges you. Adversity doesn't mean something's gone wrong. According to the Stoics, it means something important is happening. Seneca once wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." The pain you're feeling? The closed doors, the broken plans, the nights that feel endless. That's not life punishing you. That's life preparing you. In modern terms, we're taught to avoid discomfort at all costs. Smooth paths, easy wins. But that's not where character is made. Stoicism flips the script. When life gets hard, it's not a detour, it's the way. Every no, every rejection, every sleepless night, it all becomes part of the fire that tempers your steel. Think of it like this: calm seas don't make skilled sailors. It's in the chaos, in the high winds and crashing waves, that the captain inside you is born. And when depression tells you you're stuck, when loneliness whispers that you're alone, the Stoic asks, what if this is exactly where you're supposed to be? Not because it's easy, but because this is the moment that shapes you. You don't have to love the pain, but you can respect it, learn from it, use it, because the Stoics believe this above all. We are not here to escape hardship. We are here to be sharpened by it. So stand firm, breathe deep. The adversity you're facing is not the enemy. It's the invitation. 10. Don't suppress your emotions. Master the storm. Don't silence it. There's a common lie. Strong people don't feel. The Stoics would laugh at that. Marcus Aurelius cried. Seneca mourned. Epictetus knew the sting of humiliation. These men didn't run from emotion. They faced it with clarity and discipline. Stoicism doesn't mean shutting down. It means showing up, even in the presence of grief, despair, or fear. Suppressing your emotions is like ignoring fire alarms while the house burns. The Stoics taught us to listen, not to be ruled by feelings, but to understand them. Seneca's consolations weren't cold, clinical treatises. They were letters from the edge, writings that embraced pain, loss, and sorrow like old friends. He didn't ask us to pretend. He asked us to process. To ask, what is this feeling trying to teach me? When you bottle up loneliness, it festers. When you bury sadness, it hardens. But when you name it, observe it, and let it pass through you like a storm, you come out clearer, lighter, wiser. You're not less stoic for feeling deeply. You're more. So when your chest feels heavy, when the ache behind your eyes won't fade, don't armor up. Sit with it. Ask it questions. Give it space to speak. And then, when it has passed, stand again, with more understanding than before. Emotion isn't weakness. It's information. Let it guide you, not define you. 11. Seek stillness. Find the eye of the storm within. In a world obsessed with motion, stillness is an act of rebellion. It's not inactivity, it's intentional silence. And for the Stoics, it was sacred. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by war, politics, and the weight of empire, wrote about the soul's need for retreat, not to escape life, but to return to it with clarity. He called it a quiet citadel within, a place untouched by noise, untouched by fear. That place lives in you too. When loneliness roars or depression dulls your senses, stillness becomes your sanctuary. A pause, a breath, a full stop in a sentence that was racing too fast. Not everything must be solved or fixed. Some wounds need silence to begin healing. Stillness is where creativity returns, where wisdom whispers, where joy bubbles, not from the outside, but from the steady rhythm of your breath, your heartbeat, your being. Imagine yourself as a rock in the tide, waves crashing all around, but unmoved within. This isn't denial, it's discipline, a commitment to remain centered, no matter the storm. In this space of stillness, you remember who you are. Not your fears, not your failures, but your essence, quiet, resilient, steady. So carve out time for it. Mornings before the world wakes. Nights when the noise fades. Minutes between chaos. These moments are not empty, they're powerful. They anchor you. Stillness is not withdrawal, it's preparation. For action, for clarity, for strength. 12. Accept things as they are. Amor Fati, the love of fate. You've tried fixing it, wishing it away, replaying what you could have said, what you should have done. But life, in its raw, unedited form, just keeps unfolding, imperfect, unexpected, uninvited. And here's the Stoic truth. Peace doesn't come from control. It comes from acceptance. Not a passive surrender, but an active embrace of what is. Epictetus said, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and your life will flow well." This is the essence of Amor Fati, the love of fate. Not just tolerating what happens, but welcoming it as necessary, as meaningful, even if painful. When we stop resisting reality, we gain something far more powerful than illusion. We gain alignment with life itself. Imagine your life as a river. You can fight the current, exhaust yourself swimming upstream, or you can trust the flow. Trust that the twists and turns, the still waters and the rapids, are shaping you, not breaking you. Loneliness, depression, they often stem from the belief that life should be different. But Stoicism invites you to ask, what if this exact moment is the one meant to grow me? Not despite its imperfections, but because of them? Acceptance isn't about giving up. It's about letting go of the fight against what you cannot change, so you can focus on what you can, your actions, your attitude, your character. So open your arms, not just to the joy, but to the sorrow, the setbacks, the solitude. Welcome them like guests sent to teach you. This is not resignation, it's resilience. This is the Stoic way. 13. Live for something greater. Rise beyond the self. When the weight of the world presses down on your chest, when your thoughts circle endlessly and nothing feels worth it, that is the moment to ask a sacred question. Who am I living for? The Stoics taught that the self is a worthy beginning, but never the end. To live only for yourself is to build a temple with no doors. It might look perfect from the outside, but inside, it echoes with emptiness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." You are not a solitary star. You are part of a constellation, a larger order, a greater purpose, a quiet but real impact on lives you may never fully see. When depression says, "None of this matters," the Stoic whispers back, "Then make it matter, for someone else." Help a stranger. Show up for your friend. Create something that outlives you. Leave behind a piece of light that someone else can walk by. Because the deepest antidote to suffering is service, not from obligation, but from love. Even in your darkest hour, your life still has value. Not because of what you produce or what you earn, but because you can still give. A word, a gesture, a choice. Living for something greater doesn't mean martyrdom. It means alignment. It means asking each day, how can I bring more courage, more clarity, more love into this world? When you live beyond yourself, loneliness becomes connection. Depression becomes compassion. And the shadow lifts, not because you fought it, but because you lit a torch and walked forward anyway. This is the Stoic way, not to escape suffering, but to turn it into something sacred. So here you are, on the other side of 13 ancient remedies, not just from dusty philosophy books, but from the lived, bleeding, breathing hearts of real men who walked through hell and came out with wisdom in their hands. Marcus Aurelius, writing alone in tents before battle. Seneca, offering consolations while surrounded by political chaos. Epictetus, rising from slavery with nothing but a mind forged in fire. They didn't just talk about resilience, they embodied it. And now, so can you. Loneliness and depression may have brought you here, but you don't have to leave the same. These feelings are not final sentences, they're signals, invitations, opportunities to awaken your inner philosopher, your inner warrior, your unbreakable self. Use these tools. Come back to them often. When the nights grow long, when your chest feels tight, when hope flickers, remember, you've already survived your hardest days. You're not behind. You're becoming. You are not alone in this. And if you need a reminder, come back here. Rewatch. Reread. Reclaim your strength. And now it's your turn. If this spoke to your spirit, like, comment, and share it with someone who might need this light. There's someone out there right now carrying a weight they can't name. Be the reason they see another way forward. Drop your thoughts below. What's your biggest challenge right now? Which Stoic principle hit you the hardest? Your voice might be the spark someone else needs. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Not just to this channel, but to a philosophy that's weathered the centuries. A path that doesn't promise comfort, but offers courage. The Stoics believed that wisdom, once found, is meant to be shared. And now, you carry that flame, so carry it boldly. You're not just surviving anymore. You're becoming unshakable.